hilarious. All right, when it comes to the Broncos, Cease, I want to get into this conversation with you. And like I said, we'll hear a bit from Sean and George Payton. But the names of the players that were drafted, the Jahdae Barron, we know about him, the R.J. Harvey, Pat Bryant, Savion Jones, Q Robinson, Jeremy Crawshaw, and then Caleb Lohner, the last pick there in round number 7, a tight end from Utah. I looked at it and I said, all right, R.J. Harvey, I'm going to probably pencil him as the starter, even for week 1. Right now, I feel comfortable doing that. Pat Bryant, is he a starting wide receiver on the field, be it opposite of Cortland or somewhere out on the field? TBD for me. I think he has an opportunity to fight for that spot, but you said I might have been missing a couple of guys. Who else do you think has a chance to come in here and make an impact year 1?
Yeah, year 1 impact for this team, and I think Pat Bryant is that guy. Pat Bryant is the guy that can come in and be a clutch player. He's essentially the little Jordan Humphrey role. Now, don't laugh. I know that LJH didn't get a lot of love from everyone except Sean Payton,
yeah.
but he also was on the field 50% of the time. So if we look at Marvin Mims, because where the R.J. Harvey pick says a lot about Audric Estime, the Pat Bryant pick says a lot about Marvin Mims. Is Marvin Mims best as a slot guy? Can you have Bryant as a Z on the right? Now, the Z is your flanker. It can go in motion. So with Bryant, you get him in motion. And the 40-time thing, because that was a big thing, like Pat Bryant runs a 4.6 40. Why did they draft the guy? All right, calm down, Cahotek. All right, it's not just about that 40 time. 1, it's about pad speed. And then 2, it's about the clutch gene and playmaking ability that this guy has after the catch. So is Pat Bryant a 3rd-round pick? Yeah, because that's where the Broncos took him. Was he graded as a 5th-round pick by pretty much everybody? Yeah. Okay, you took him 2 rounds earlier. Whatever. It's a go-get-your-guy draft, and they went and got their guys. Their guys weren't everybody's guys, but they're their guys. And I'm here to tell you, Pat Bryant in that role, if we say it's the LJH role, he can make plays. And maybe people remember the name, but Kenny Golladay is the player that I comp closely to Pat Bryant. And Golladay had a couple 1,000-yard seasons when he was with the Detroit Lions. Then injuries caught up with him and all that. But like Pat Bryant, to me, is a player that can come in. I want Sutton on one side. I want Pat Bryant on the other side. I want Marvin Mims in the slot.
And then you got Evan Ingram there.
Evan Ingram at tight end. You got R.J. Harvey. Now all of a sudden you have explosive weapons. You've got security in Cortland Sutton. You've got security in Evan Ingram. You've got speed to take the top off in Marvin Mims. You've got run after the catch monster Pat Bryant right behind him. And then you've got R.J. Harvey, Mr. Philip the Field, as the running back. That has explosive capability that I don't think people are necessarily recognizing right now. They are with Harvey. And I guess sick brag, bro. People are like, I'm watching R.J. Harvey and I'm falling in love. I'll do a Spivak. Watch during the regular season. You don't need to watch after your guy's been drafted. Just watch during the regular season. You would have known that I don't think he's Devontae Freeman, although some have made that comparison. And by some, I mean Daniel Jeremiah.
Oh, wow.
So if that's a guy you're going to listen to, which you should.
He's smart.
He says Devontae Freeman, plus the way that he fits, right? Everyone falling all over themselves. It's not just Harvey. It's the way that he fits with Sean Payton.
See, and that's something I'm trying to keep in mind for myself of like, all right, grade, what do we look at? I know you're going to write about it at denversports.com. I'm like a B- a C, and it's because, one, I trust the process. I trust George Payton, and I trust Sean Payton. At this point, if you don't, you're just a hater, right? They've shown some success here in 2 short years. I look at it as, okay, when they call Pat Bryant's name, and I go, oh, I don't really know the kid. I didn't study the kid that much, but I try to look at it as what you just said. Well, they have Cortland Sutton. They have Marvin Mims. They have Evan Ingram. They didn't pick Pat Bryant to be Cortland Sutton. They're not trying to replace anybody's production there. They go, well, if we have Pat Bryant out on the field, and even worst case scenario, he's the 3rd option, and he's never going to be the 3rd option. He'll be the 4th option at best, in my opinion, because you add a running back into that equation. That also means he's getting the 4th best coverage player, and I know he's a rookie, but Pat Bryant versus 4th best coverage player, I try to look at that's what they're game planning. That's what Sean's cooking up of, all right, Pat Bryant against PS2, guess who wins, right? Pat Bryant against insert top-tier cornerback name, Pat's not going to win. He's never going to have that matchup.
Right.
You can manipulate the field where you want a player to be and where that player is when Bo gets to his 3rd progression, that's where Pat Bryant would be. So I give them benefit of the doubt on process and benefit of the doubt of how you're actually going to use this player and manipulate the field with Bo Nix.
The dirty secret in the NFL is what?
It's fit.
Pat Bryant fits.
Yeah.
And he's not Michael Thomas. I understand Coach Payton was like, I see a little bit of Michael Thomas traits. Okay. I'm not going to say he's wrong. Hell, he found Michael Thomas. He coached Michael Thomas.
Real quick, here's what Sean said about it.
Look, early on, they come in, they compete in the rotation. We try to find comps, and there were so many things about his game that reminded me of Mike Thomas. And with respect to Mike, who became, holy cow, you don't ever want to put pressure on a rookie like that. We're just talking about traits. But really explosive off the line of scrimmage, very competitive, very tough.
So you don't want to make the comps, but let me make a comp real quick.
Right.
That's when I heard it on Saturday. I'm like, wait a minute. I don't know. That's a lot of pressure on a kid. Michael Thomas was a top-tier wide receiver for 4 years in the NFL.
Do you know what Michael Thomas's Twitter handle is?
No.
Can't guard Mike.
Oh, I like that.
Somebody go grab Can't Guard Pat.
Can't guard Pat.
Is that coming to the Mile High City? I'm not going to say no, but I love that he's clutch. I love the fact that you mentioned drawing up plays. Sutton's covered. Ingram's covered. They got a good safety on R.J. Harvey out of the backfield. Marvin Mims, Bo didn't quite see him yet. There's Pat Bryant. And he's not the type of guy. I saw him down at the Senior Bowl. That's why we talked about him first before anybody else. It's ridiculous to suggest otherwise. Because at the Senior Bowl, you know what he was doing? Not getting separation.
Oh.
Because why? That's not his game. Don't expect him to, he's wide open. Expect him to be like, I know it's boxing out in basketball. Scouts call it my ball mentality.
Yep.
When the ball is in the air, it's his. Pat Bryant will go get it. So Pat Bryant could be a starter as soon as day one. I wouldn't mind seeing that. If Mims is the answer at slot. And then Troy is a backup. Troy Franklin's a backup. Devon Bailey's a backup because he's a backup.
That's what they were drafted to do.
We don't need to get all in our feelings about like, Bailey is going to be a future starter. I mean, yeah, maybe. But right now, I'm putting Pat Bryant as the number 2 receiver for the Denver Broncos.
Okay. And look, Mims in the slot, how many options does that give a guy like Sean Payton? He can still play that same role where you put him in motion. You don't know if he's going to get the ball handed off. You don't know if you're going to, all right, there's a matchup I want. Mims inside route. You just beat the linebacker. I put it on your right shoulder. You run 50 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah. And the other player that is going to be a starter as soon as next year is Savion Jones.
You like him?
I like him a lot. A lot. Now, he's not going to play edge for this team. They're going to move him in at defensive end. However, a lot of his production came over the B gap. A lot of his production came at inside.
Okay.
So he can put his hand in the dirt. He will be a defensive end. He's essentially your John Franklin Myers replacement. So, sorry. That's probably not going to get a contract extension. But when you had this team in the Malcolm Roach, JFM, Zach Allen, 3 players on the defensive line that are looking for new contracts. Zach Allen, maybe because of his play and his high-level play, but it's also going to be the most money. JFM's not going to be the most money. Malcolm Roach not going to be much money, I would imagine.
JFM's still under 30 though, so he's looking for a payday.
He's looking for the final payday here. And with this drafting of Savion Jones, I don't think that comes here.
Okay.
Could be wrong, and maybe they keep JFM and Zach Allen's priced himself out. I don't know. I doubt that based on Allen and his play with Vance Joseph. But once again, with VJ, the biggest winner of draft weekend was Vance Joseph.
I like Kevin's question. Kevin asked us earlier, who won the draft, VJ or Bo Nix? VJ. By a lot, right? It was definitely VJ.
I don't think this needs to be the no-fly zone. I don't think this needs to be the Super Bowl 50 defense because point-blank period, this offense is going to be better than the Super Bowl 50 offense. Peyton was broken at the time. He was. But this defense can give you Super Bowl 50 vibes.
I like that.
They can be swarming. Forget top 5. Hey, they were a top 5 defense. They could clearly be the most suffocating defense in the NFL.
Absolutely. Love that. And look, Cecil, if we get to the 3 defensive players, 3 offensive players, and then a punter, if you count those guys. We know Jahdae Barron's going to play and start at some point. R.J. Harvey, I think, is the starter from day one. You're high on Pat Bryant. And I'm going to ride with you on that. You're high on Savion Jones. Those are their top 4 picks. Nobody bats 1,000. It's rare that you even bat over 500 in this stuff. If those 4 hit, George has done that. Sean has done that. The punter's going to get an opportunity. Q Robinson and then Caleb Lohner are just, all right, you get an opportunity. And Lohner's a 7th-round pick. If it doesn't pan out, who cares?
I'm not going to lose my mind, although there are when we went down the list of running backs, you didn't mention Brashard Smith. Did you see where he went? Did you see when he went?
In the 7th round.
So I know you're saying, like, it's a 7th-round pick, whatever. Brashard Smith could have been a pick.
Isn't that where they got Pacheco?
Yep.
7th round?
Yep.
That worked out pretty well.
Yep. Because you had to take Montreal Washington. And so Q Robinson, who I saw at the Shrine Bowl, value player, he's a core special teams player. But here's my problem. When Q Robinson was on the board, and it's a 4th-rounder, Lammey, why are you losing your mind over a 4th-rounder? Because I saw this team take Delarian Turner-Yell, and the very next pick was Tariq Woolen, who as a rookie became a starter and one of the best corners in the league. So don't give me this 4th-rounder crap. You know, when Q Robinson was there, and I'm not saying Aronde Gadsden's going to be that, but Aronde Gadsden, the tight end from Syracuse, was there, and that's the freak athlete you take. Caleb Lohner, I hope he's the greatest tight end of all time. They just got the Brock Purdy of tight ends. Morgan Freeman voice. I've seen the future. Caleb Lohner didn't make the team. Like it doesn't work out. It doesn't work out. Maybe it does, and this is the greatest thing ever. But you had guys with production and freakish traits, and you take a special teamer. So I got some Delarian Turner-Yell vibes. Okay. Who's like, yeah, Delarian Turner-Yell's a great special teamer. I don't want him playing defense.
No.
In the 4th round, when I can still find freaks, once again, I'm a fan of freaks. Give me the freak.
Yeah. We're pro freaks on this show. That's 100% true.